What is good, everybody? I am so excited for this one, just as I know many of you are. A rebuild that's had a lot of anticipation, and that is the Jacksonville Jaguars, who we are going to be moving to London after one more season in Jacksonville. And it's a particularly interesting one because it's not like a lot of our rebuilds where it's a team that you're basically building from the ground up. This is a team that has some pieces on it. They're not far removed from playing in an AFC championship game, but they're in a weird state with the organization with some older players, guys like Calais Campbell, AJ Bouye to figure out a star pass rusher who's going to be demanding that top money, set to become a free agent, an interesting narrative. So lots of interesting things to decide right away here as we are going to hop in modern time. Week 16, coming off that win against the Oakland Raiders. So we aren't able to replicate the stats and such because we do this by force winning using my custom roster. But we are able to replicate the record and, in return, the draft order, which will be a nice pick for us. Luckily, DJ Chark is having that nice season as he is in real life. And we do, of course, have the updates that are coming in through my Studs and Duds weekly thing. So it's still a very accurate representation, even if it's not pinpoint spot on. So what we're going to do here, we're going to simulate the rest of this season. And I want to run through the rules of the rebuild here, as we always do. And we'll take a look at the sliders as well after this. Before we hop in here, please do hit that like button down below, not just for this video, but for every installment of this episode. If you enjoy the series, you're sticking around watching these things, please do that. It helps support the series, support the channel more than you know. It's the easiest thing you can do. So please do hit that like button down below. But as always, realistic moves only. Trades, when we need to interfere with the game engine, we will do it, trying to make the most realistic moves possible. We will be using my own custom roster and custom draft classes designed for the most realistic franchise experience. When I need to manually adjust dev traits, when the game I feel kind of screws a player over, if they have a nice year and they don't get rewarded, we will interfere. And if we do it to our own player, we will balance it out by assigning a boost to a counterpart. And then this will be a 4-year rebuild. In theory, that is technically longer than our Redskins rebuild because we are technically or effectively starting in 2020. This first episode will include the entire 2020 offseason, which is definitely a great way to kick everything off. So in the first 2 years, we're going to be doing our Play the Moments minigame that we do in these rebuilds, which means 3 Play the Moments for every divisional game. And inside there, you get a maximum of 1 full drive. So we're trying to create some opportunity to, I guess, interfere and play ourselves, but also we want our GM skills to matter as well to give us a challenge in the rebuild and not make things too easy. So in the first 2 seasons, we'll also be doing 1 game of offense entirely, and then 1 game of just playing the 4th quarter. And then in the 3rd and 4th seasons, we will be just doing those play the moments against those divisional opponents. If we are to make the playoffs, in the first round, the wild card round, we will do 5 play the moments with a maximum of 2 full drives. Moving on to the second round, 4 play the moments with 1 full drive. Round 3 would be our normal rules with 3 play the moments, 1 full drive, and then if we make the Super Bowl, it will be a full game of play the moments, so playing every time they stop us and ask to play. For those wondering about the sliders, here you go. We are on all Madden. Speed parity is set to 40. We've got injuries down to 24, and here are the rest of the sliders you need to know about. Fatigue up to 52. So there you go. Gonna be referring a lot of people back to that section. Always got slider questions coming in. And then XP sliders are untouched. All right, so that's all the housekeeping. we need. Let's get this thing rolling. I love starting at this time, right at the offseason. Basically, we get to preview what I would do this offseason with the Jaguars. We're going to pick up a loss against the Falcons. That's basically what we want. We do have Gardner Minshew in there right now. Of course, what do we do with Nick Foles and that massive contract? You know, there's lots of rumors going around that Tom Coughlin's going to be heading out. We definitely, in this universe, are firing our general manager. We go ahead and lose to the Colts as well. So it's just, I love this team. I love this rebuild. We have a big issue on our hands because of that contract. I said it on my channel the second it happened. It was a terrible mistake. It's a ton of guaranteed money. We can't get out of it. I don't think it's particularly realistic to trade him. If we did, we would have to give away draft picks just to make it happen. We're stuck with a backup quarterback making a significant amount of money, and that's going to present some serious roadblocks in our team building ability. So it's going to be a unique challenge here with that contract, just as the real life Jaguars are going to face. So first things first is staff resigning. And unfortunately, you're pretty limited when you do owner mode. You can't go in and create a coach. So that is one area of realism that is going to be lacking in this rebuild. Once I commit the actual move to London, I technically could go ahead and create a coach. But for now, we're kind of stuck with whatever coaching availabilities are out there. So we do want to fire Doug Marrone. It's just not working here. Health hasn't been a particular issue here, so we'll go ahead and extend our trainer. But then, yeah, we're going to have an opportunity to look at coaches some point along the line here. And then as far as our upgrades go, I'm going to wait until we figure out what our coach is. We do have a lot of upgrades waiting, so we'll be able to kind of make that our off-season training, maybe formatting some of these guys to a new scheme next year. And forgive me, I should have stopped to look at the playoff picture because we're coming right in here 2 weeks from the NFL playoffs. Let's see how everything played out. So the Ravens actually ended up dropping a couple at the end of the season. They finished 11-5, and the Steelers get that wild card spot. They win out, go 10-6. In the AFC South, the Texans taking care of business. They get in. In the AFC East, the Patriots, Bills. So there's your wild card or your playoff picture. The Chiefs finish strong, 12-4, and then in the NFC, the Packers end up taking it. The Vikings finishing 0-2, and they're going to go 10-6 on the season. And then in the NFC South, the Saints, Cowboys end up winning the NFC East, and in the NFC West, the Seahawks lose out, and the Niners take that 1 seed in the NFC. Not sure that's how it would play out and how it will play out in real life. Pittsburgh gets the upset. Lamar Jackson still no playoff wins in his career. Saints taking care of Minnesota. The Bills pulling a big upset against Houston, putting up 42 points. And then Dallas getting that 4 seed, hosting Seattle. They beat up on Seattle, beating them for the second year in a row in Dallas. So let's sim the divisional round. See how my roster predicts the rest of this season to play out. It's kind of fun. So the Steelers going on a run, picking up the offense. They take care of the New England Patriots. San Francisco knocks off Dallas, but it is a battle. And then you got Kansas City beating Buffalo and New Orleans beating Green Bay. So the conference matchup is going to be Steelers at Kansas City and Saints at 49ers, which I think is the matchup a lot of people are expecting. This AFC matchup would surprise pretty much everyone. So we got some staff hirings to make here. And there's not really any realistic coaches on the market here. This is something we're really hoping for in Madden 21 is a coaching carousel type deal. And what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to hire one of these fake guys, and we're just going to pretend. We're all going to get along here and pretend that this is actually a real coach. And once the move to London is in effect, I will switch over to the coach where we can actually create his name. And the coach I'm going to go with here, the Jags aren't going to have the ideal prospects out there. You're not talking about Lincoln Riley, even a hot name like Eric Bieniemy might not consider here. But to me, it's time to think offense for this team. The days of the elite Jacksonville defense of 2017 are gone. Jalen Ramsey's gone. We're probably going to lose Yannick Ngakoue because of our salary cap problems. We got to do our best to fix this offense. And someone that's done a lot with kind of a similar situation here with a questionable offensive line, some decent receivers, is Kevin Stefanski of the Minnesota Vikings. He's worked with Gary Kubiak, was interviewed with the Cleveland Browns last year, and they ended up going with Freddie Kitchens over him. That looks like a mistake now, but we are going to hire Thomas Pitta and pretend for a year that we are actually hiring Kevin Stefanski. You're going to have to use your imagination for a year. This is just a Madden roadblock here, but that is going to be the hire there. Kevin Stefanski for the Jacksonville Jaguars, who likes to run a zone-heavy, play-action-heavy offense, hoping Dede Westbrook and DJ Chark can be our Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. And it looks like a Saints-Chiefs Super Bowl, which would be very exciting. Patrick Mahomes, the young gun, versus the old expert, and Drew Brees. Let's see who wins. Staff hiring, I think we're good. And let's advance. All right, we got a coach, Thomas Pitta, a.k.a. Kevin Stefanski. And the Chiefs get dominated by the Saints in the Super Bowl. So we have currently negative $12 million in cap space, which means right off the bat, we got some stuff to address here. Got this ugly Nick Foles contract sitting here. We can save $15 million in moving on from Calais Campbell. Marcel Darius, this is an obvious release here, saving $20 million in cap space, only incurring a $3 million penalty. If this didn't happen in real life, I would be overwhelmingly surprised. So we are going to go ahead and make that inevitable move right there. We are going to be getting Telvin Smith back next year, 29-year-old stud outside linebacker, which will help us. AJ Bouye, really our only good outside corner at the moment, so we want to hang on to him if we can. So that will hopefully buy us some freedom here. Now, the Yannick Ngakoue situation is really the only conversation to have right now. The rest of these guys are replacement-level players that we're very comfortable letting walk. You know, maybe a couple of these practice squad guys, we want to take advantage of our opportunity to negotiate with them. Joe Giles Harris, an interesting young player out of Duke. Maybe he likes a 3-year deal like this. Nope, he does not. Perry Nickerson, explosive corner. I don't know if he would want a deal like this. Yep, he's going to stick around, so we got him back. But that's really all we can afford. Definitely can't afford Keelan Cole with what he's looking for. Now, with the lack of existence in compensatory draft picks in Madden, really got to beat around the bush to keep this thing interesting here. We are going to do something similar to what happened with Jadeveon Clowney. Obviously, Yannick Ngakoue is not going to want to play here on the franchise tag, but that will allow us to collect a draft pick, which is much needed for us. We have a lot of spots to fix on this roster, so by franchise tagging him and trading him, we can at least salvage his value. So we're going to apply that franchise tag. What I'm going to do is convert that to a salary here so that we don't take that cap hit. I don't entirely know how it works, and it depends on the negotiations and how that all shakes out. But I do know that teams like the Dolphins did with Jarvis Landry don't always incur that salary by doing this move. So we're going to go ahead and make that our situation here. And we're going to go ahead and advance to stage 1 of free agency. And here we will be able to make that trade for Yannick Ngakoue. So looking similar to like a D Ford type of player who fetched basically a top 34 pick. Trying to think of top teams. The New York Giants are a team that could use a pass rushing specialist. The New York Jets as well could really use a guy like Yannick Ngakoue. Would prefer to trade him out of the conference. The Detroit Lions, another team that could use a player like this. The Oakland Raiders. Lots of teams need this top edge rush talent. The Redskins, the Bills. I really think the New York Giants makes the most sense here to get that second round pick from them. It's a top 34 pick. And I think the value checks out. That's about what D Ford fetched. That's definitely the market for Yannick Ngakoue. I think the Giants would be very willing to do this. You're not going to get a player of Ngakoue's caliber with that pick. They've got plenty of cap space to keep him around. So we're going to go ahead and make that move. Declined by the engine here. I'm going to see, they run a 3-4 scheme. If I actually move him to outside linebacker, they just might take it so we don't have to interfere. Otherwise, I will manually make it happen. Still no. So I'm going to go ahead and interfere here to make this happen. And there you go. So our draft is definitely going to be interesting. We got 2 firsts. We got 1 from the Rams. We got 2 seconds. We got another first next year. So we do have the capital here to really build this team up. Getting Telvin Smith back as well. So it's definitely a team that, you know, we want to try and compete next year to the best of our ability. We're not going to have a ton of room to improve via free agency here. Before we take a peek, we are going to set our scheme and improve our players to the degree that we want. So we are going to go with a vertical zone run with Kevin Stefanski. That's kind of the game plan there. And then the defense, I don't see any reason we wouldn't stick with sort of the Seattle cover 3, base 4-3 type of deal. We got perfect scheme fits across the board. For our playbooks, we are going to use that TFG offensive playbook that I have uploaded there on Xbox. It's modeled based off of the Dallas Cowboys playbook. And then defensively, we're going to go ahead and just go and use Seattle's. I do like the idea of keeping the continuity on defense because with the leaders in place here, that's what these guys are familiar with. And there is a boatload of defensive minds that have grown up in those schemes considering its popularity across the league. So maybe a Colts disciple of Matt Eberflus or a Pete Carroll disciple, something like that would be our defensive coordinator. We don't need to hit in on who that would be right now. So upgrading our players to fit these schemes. Miles Jack does have 2 upgrades in the waiting. We'll stick with that field general. He's going to be our leader for the future. He's young. Just got a big contract extension here. He is a big piece of this team's future. Some nice upgrades there. He actually goes up to superstar in this world. He has a nice year. He gets tip drill as that coverage linebacker. So he's definitely the face of the defense at the moment. Josh Allen gets a pair of upgrades here. And we're going to work on his speed rush ability. At some point may help develop his power rush moves as well. But he's another guy that in his second year we have big hopes for, especially with Yannick Ngakoue on his way out, DJ Chark having his good season. Might as well keep working on what he's good at as that deep threat. He gets an agility boost. So at 23 years old, he's obviously going to be a focal point of our development. Now for Dede Westbrook, I want him to be more of our route guy. You know, I want him to be our Stephon Diggs in this offense as that precise route runner. So we're going to focus on that aspect of his game. Ronnie Harrison as the Cam Chancellor in this defense. We want him to step up for sure. He's in his 3rd year here, and he's underwhelmed a little bit. He's been fine, but it's a big year for him to prove that he can stick. Leon Jacobs, he's a really solid 3rd linebacker. Versatile guy as well with a pass rushing skill set coming out of Wisconsin. So he's a good guy for like 4-3 under packages and stuff. Jawan Taylor, of course, a big piece of this future as well. Early 2nd round pick. Would like him to continue to develop here. A couple good upgrades. Only 22 years old. Who else we got here? Cam Robinson. Really rough 2019 season. But things don't have to be over here. He can bounce back. He's still young. So we're going to focus on his pass protecting ability, as is our scheme fit there at left tackle. Not the best upgrades, but he'll probably be our starter next year, depending what happens in the draft. And then we got Gardner Minshew there. Look at that face scan, looking good. So obviously going to be a quarterback competition between him and Kirk. And I want to focus on his ability to connect on the deep ball here. In that scheme fit, the strong arm. Gets a throw power. That's what you want to see here. Let's do another one. So he's up to a 67. That quarterback battle is going to be so interesting for us. Perry Nickerson, who just got the 1-year contract extension here. We're going to go zone. Sticking with that zone cover 3 Seattle defense here. Some big upgrades there. He gets an acceleration, some zone boosts. He might compete. The cornerback room is a big need for us. Let's see. Lots of other players here. Calais Campbell. We're still not sure if he's going to be sticking around, but we'll go run stuffer. If we're going to win next year, you would think he can be a big part of that. And then another intriguing guy to talk about here is Leonard Fournette, who's, let's just say, had his ups and downs in his Jacksonville career. I think we're going to get asked about his 5th-year option coming up here, and I honestly don't think we're going to pick that up. We got Telvin Smith here. We're going to go with the pass coverage scheme fit. Very excited to have him back. And then Taven Bryan as well. I actually want to work on his pass rushing ability here. I'm going to go power rusher. He is a guy that if he can have a good year, I look at this front 7 with Josh Allen, with Calais Campbell, with those linebackers, it can be a very good front 7 next year. This defense can still be very legit. Avery Jones is going to be around here for now as our number 2 D tackle. Trey Herndon has an upgrade. This guy that a lot of Jags fans are probably going to tell me is too low. He has been playing better lately, and that might be fair. But up until the point that we did this rebuild, he hasn't really stepped up. So he is our number 2 corner as of this moment. We'll see if that lasts. Marquise Lee, he might start in the slot for us next year. We'll do a slot upgrade. Gerard Wilson, that versatile safety for us. He's our number 1 safety as of right now. And we're going to automate the rest of these guys. So far, so good. We're trying to clean things up here. This is an absolute mess. Let's take a peek at free agency. We only have $5 million in cap space, so not going to be able to make any big splashes here. I actually think it's best to just let the market play out. We're not making any big signings here. We aren't going to really look at free agency until well after these guys actually receive offers. And that cap flexibility heading into next year is something we might want. So I'm actually going to go all the way to stage 3. It's not exciting, but it's unfortunately for the Jags, the future that they put themselves in with that Nick Foles contract. There's probably other cuts we can make, but we're being realistic here and realizing that this team's probably not going to be in great position to win next year. We're going to try, but it's not going to be through free agency. It's going to be through the draft and the guys we have developing. Now, we are sitting here in the 3rd stage of free agency, and Marcus Mariota. Can we pull off a reverse Ryan Tannehill here? He would be our highest rated quarterback, compete with Gardner Minshew. Now, we're not giving him the big deal that he's asking for here, but would he come in here for a 1-year contract? And that's not realistic to give him $5 million. I'm going to look at maybe if we have other players to free up some extra space here to give him more of a realistic $10 million contract. Marquise Lee, we can clear up a lot of space by releasing him. Jeff Swaim, we can clear up a lot of space by letting him go. So there's a clear cut right there. I do want to keep Calais Campbell, even though we could clear a ton of cap space by doing that. And then Avery Jones, run stuffing nose tackles just aren't worth $4 million to me. We're going to let him go. We can replace that pretty easily. Jake Ryan has a huge contract here, so we are able to clear up some cap space here. Actually clearing about $15 million right there off the bat. DJ Hayden could be a cut here, but we're so hurting at corner for now. I'm going to keep him there. And Hayden actually has experience as an outside corner. He's played great in the nickel here for us, but desperate times might call for us to put him outside again. And that's really it for cuts. Let's go back to free agency. After that, we're able to get up to $18 million in cap space, which gives us a lot more freedom. So I'm still interested in Mariota, but now that we have some room here, let's maybe think about some other spots. Raheem Mostert not getting any offers. He could definitely offer an element of speed to this offense, but we're not in a position that we can pay running backs right now. We probably have to look more at a cheap contract. Tajay Sharp's not getting any offers. Interdivision signing here. He can be a really nice depth wide receiver 4 for us if he would accept a deal like this. I don't mind paying him about $1.5 million a year for 3 years. Let's see if he likes it. Probably won't, but you never know. Tight end is a big need for us, but the options are slim picking. Offensive line, no upgrades in the looks. How about defensive line? Mohammed Wilkerson's available. He's a player that's kind of similar to Malik Jackson, who had a lot of success here. After taking a year off of football, can we lure him in here? See if he can have a comeback player. Let's bring him in. So offering him about $4 million. Adrien Claiborne's a good fit for this team as well on the edge. He's coming from Atlanta, so he's very familiar with the Seattle scheme we want to run. But that contract would kind of take us out of the giving Mariota the 1 year, $10 million contract that might be realistic. So I'm going to hold off on that for now. We do still have DeJuan Smoot there. We definitely could use a corner. Josh Norman, 32 years old. Definitely a good scheme fit. Same with Jalen Mills. He would be a great scheme fit for us. You know what? I think Jalen Mills was born to play in the cover 3 press man scheme, and he does want a decent amount of money, but he's sitting here available. If we give him a 3-year deal for about $4 million a year, that could still put us in the conversation to get Marcus Mariota. I hope he likes that deal. Oh man, and also Sean Davis is sitting here. He is a speedy, rangy free safety that could be that Earl Thomas for us. Definitely an upgrade to Gerard Wilson. So I'm starting to like the idea better of beefing up the surrounding core, and maybe we can find a way to make room for about a $10 million contract for Mariota. But I really think Sean Davis is too good of a scheme fit. I think we're going to give him a 1-year deal around this price tag. So that leaves us with $6.2 million. And I think the last cut to make here is Marquise Lee, who has definitely run his course. We're going to incur a penalty to do it, but he's on a big contract, and we're going to go ahead and let him go and make one last offer here to Marcus Mariota. And my offer for Mariota is a 1-year, $10 million contract, half guaranteed, to get his revenge on the Titans and maybe save his career here. So I don't know if he'll like that or not. We'll find out. So hoping we can lure some of these guys in here. Fingers crossed. There you go. Jalen Mills, Mariota, Mohammed Wilkerson. Those are some good ads. That's being very efficient with what we have. None of those contracts are going to hurt us in the long run if they don't work out. Mariota's just a 1-year deal. Wilkerson, a 1-year deal. And then Jalen Mills was pretty cheap to get a good starting corner. So I like that deal. And he's a great scheme fit. He's had his problems in Philadelphia, but I think he's going to fit in really nicely here. So we're going to go ahead and skip to the draft. And the Dolphins actually end up with the first overall pick, which means the Bengals kind of blew it. And despite us losing, they're still going to take Joe Burrow, though, with the first overall pick. Okay, so despite us losing the last 2 games, we don't pick until the 8th pick. I really don't think this team is in any sort of position to give up future draft capital to go and get any sort of quarterback. I don't see a quarterback in this class as a savior. There's still a chance that one of them falls to you at 8 anyway. This team needs to build up the depth and talent of this team with all these picks they have. So we're going to stand pat here. Looks like the Giants are going to be adding Chase Young. So they're going to basically do what the 49ers did last year. Draft the Ohio State stud that falls to them with the 2nd pick, and then trade for a high-end number 2 guy, perhaps, in Yannick Ngakoue. So I'm excited to see what they can do with that. That pass rush will be much improved for them. The Bengals are going to go with a safety. Not the worst pick. Grant Delpit, a hell of a player. The Redskins, following in our shoes, are going to take a corner in the 1st round. Chargers taking Derek Brown. Not a bad pick for them. They need a big guy in the middle. The Broncos, Jerry Jeudy to pair with Cortland Sutton. So far, this thing's playing out pretty well. And the Lions are going to take a corner, Christian Fulton. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this. So us, we've got options. The number 1 offensive lineman, Andrew Thomas, falls to us. Quarterbacks are on the board, but like I said, I don't know if that's the right pick at 8. We do have another 1st round pick. Maybe a Jordan Love or a Jake Fromm later is considered. Definitely not taking a running back this early. So CeeDee Lamb, an intriguing player to give us a dynamic wide receiving core. That didn't really work out for us in Washington. We could take a franchise center in Tyler Biadasz, but we do have a center already. We could take a tackle in Andrew Thomas, which might be the correct pick here. Could go defensive line with AJ Espinenza. We definitely don't need to go linebacker. Corner is intriguing. You could take Isaiah Simmons and playing him at strong safety to be this team's Cam Chancellor, which is definitely appealing to what I think this defense could achieve. I'm really between him and Andrew Thomas right now. If you take him, you maybe kick Cam Robinson to right guard. I'm not sure we're finding a tackle like him at any point in this class, so I think that's going to be the pick here. He's only 21 years old. He's got a hidden development, 72 overall, best tackle in this class. So I think that is the right pick. Unlikely we're going to be able to get Isaiah Simmons now. But if he falls a little bit, we do have the 20th pick. He could round out this team. I know we said trading up in the draft, not ideal, but let's go about 4 or 5 picks here. If he starts slipping, I'm going to think about it. 3, Bucks getting a running back. I don't mind that pick. 4, 5. Okay, the Colts here. The Falcons add CeeDee Lamb because they don't have a wide receiver on that team. So to get the 14th pick here, I'm trying to think. Last year, the Broncos gave up, or sorry, the Steelers rather. I think it was a 2nd round pick and a 3rd round the next year to move up. I'd probably take a little less than that because we're going from 20 to 14 instead. Perhaps our 3rd round pick, that's a top 10 pick and a future 3rd to make this move, could get it done to get Isaiah Simmons, who could be a really dynamic strong safety for us and be the Cam Chancellor of this defense. I think that's going to be the move for us. We're going to give up a 3rd round pick this year, which is a lot to give up, but we have plenty of picks. We've loaded up in that department, so to go and get this piece I think is going to be big for us. So we're going to draft the 6'4", 230-pound Isaiah Simmons, and he is going to get converted to strong safety for us. Only 86 speed, but I mean, this guy flies to the ball. He lights you up, and he is just a dynamic piece for this team. It's a perfect scheme fit and a piece we definitely need. So I'm excited about that one. And we do have a top pick at the top of the 2nd round. So let's go ahead and skip to that. Obviously, no more trade-ups at this point. So now Tua starts slipping, and so does Justin Herbert. And if this happened on draft day, I would not be the least bit surprised. Tua's dealing with that injury. Herbert's kind of got this vibe of being the next Trubisky. Jordan Love is slipping as well. You got wide receivers available. The top tight end is still available. That's a big need for us. There's still some linemen out there on the board. Antoine Winfield, the best safety in this, best free safety in this class, is sitting there. And that's really speaking to me because we weren't able to get Sean Davis. I know Tua is really intriguing here. Personally, I'm not a Tua guy. I don't think Tua is going to be good in the NFL. People disagree with me on that. I feel the same way about Justin Herbert. I haven't watched too much film on these guys, but I mean, you put this safety duo back there, you're rounding out this defense. We signed Jordan Mills to complete the secondary. This defense could actually get back to its glory days. We were able to hold on to Calais Campbell. Got Josh Allen in there. 2 young, explosive safeties. I think this is the pick. So we're going to add Antoine Winfield out of Minnesota. And then we still have a pick there and a few picks, and maybe one of those quarterbacks is the pick there. So let's see. And they're still there. We could still take Tua. We could still take Jordan Love or Justin Herbert. Now, we have Marcus Mariota, we have Nick Foles, and we have Gardner Minshew. How much do we really want to invest in the quarterback position? That's a tough question to answer right now. Personally, I want to look elsewhere. You could go with a local receiver in Van Jefferson. Could look at the offensive line, perhaps. Defensive line, a Raekwon Davis out of Alabama. Could he be the next sort of flexible Calais Campbell? He's 6'7", 312. I don't mind the idea of training him in there. Definitely something to think about. We could go corner. Definitely don't need to go safety again. You know what? I think we'd be making a pretty big mistake if we didn't really fix this offensive line. And there's options. You could go Damian Lewis, Netane Moody. Both these guys getting 1st round grades from us. Lewis, kind of the freak option. Let's go ahead and take a chance on him. 74 overall. He's got normal development, though. But definitely an upgrade there at right guard. So the offensive line getting massive improvements. Now we don't have that 3rd round pick. So we're going to have to skip quite a ways ahead, but that is quite the haul if you ask me. And here we are picking at the top of the 4th round. I'm going straight to wide receiver, tight end an option as well. I think I'm going to take a chance here. Harrison Bryant out of FAU, so a local cat and, you know, good athlete. 68 overall, but pretty balanced. He could be our starter. He really could. That tight end room is rough for us. So for a 4th round pick, I don't think that's the worst we could have done. All right, 5th round. Perhaps another playmaker, a running back, or a wide receiver. Kennedy Brooks out of Oklahoma is a good player. He's kind of sat in the wings there. The running back is a need for us, and the idea of getting a guy that's had experience as a 3rd down back, which we're going to need with Fournette there. Kylan Hill, the Adrien Killings out of UCF, intriguing as well. This guy is a freak athlete. He's more of a Tarik Cohen type, and perhaps we could actually get him in the 6th round and take Brooks here in the 5th. It's a big need for us. We're going to start here with Kennedy Brooks. He actually has hidden development, and you can see he's kind of that Oklahoma prototype. Can do a little bit of everything, and that's a really good pick for us. So here in the 6th round, Adrien Killings is still available. So let's get the Speedster. Normal development, but look what he can do for us in the return game. As a 3rd down back, he's got those receiving skills. So I think he can be a weapon for us in a Tarik Cohen kind of way. That's a Darwin Thompson type of pick right there. Okay, we have an extra 6th rounder. It's a big-bodied Michael Pittman falling here. It's an option. You know, here in the 6th round, we got an extra 6th round pick. One piece that this team doesn't have that's a little harder to actually find in free agency is a fullback, which the run game's kind of making a comeback these days. We got Leonard Fournette. We might as well have a good guy to pave the way. You know, out of Iowa, this guy's a badass. So let's grab him. Okay, he's not the best. I mean, could be worse. But a 4-year cheap fullback. We needed one on the roster, so we'll see how he does. And then one more pick. I'm actually thinking about a punter here, maybe. Another position we don't currently have on the roster. Let's just take the top guy and see how he is. 66 overall. All right. Well, not going to kill us if they can't play well. That's the draft. I mean, that's a haul. That is a haul if you ask me. So this video is already getting a little long, so we're going to wrap this thing up right here. That offseason, I don't know if you can complain about that one if you're a Jags fan. We were able to fill a lot of holes on this team. Could probably still use a wide receiver. But we improved the offensive line. We have now a very healthy quarterback room. And we, most importantly, put this defense back in a place where it can thrive with depth at every level and good starting talent at every level with some young, super intriguing players, as we're going to convert Isaiah Simmons here to strong safety. And I'm going to work on getting him Cam Chancellor's number 31, assuming that's not anyone too important's number. But I am thrilled with this offseason we had. I hope you guys are too. If you made it this far, please do hit that like button. Let me know in the comments below what you think. What are your expectations for this year? I am pumped. This is going to be a great rebuild. So peace out, guys. We'll see you later.